This is the Mannin Line on location.
Faster, good afternoon. Welcome to King William's College in Castletown with Andy talking to the students in their final year at King William's College. So what's in store for them? What plans do they have academically? We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about football. We'll talk about really whatever the students want to talk about between now and 1 o'clock. So we're back on the road again. The Mission to Communicate tour is in session live in Castletown with the students of King William's College on Mannin Line. Lloyd's here, also Rory and Anna, Ishana, Arthur, Theo, Isabel and Jess. And Henry, who do you play for again?
I play for Moran Combi.
Moran Combi, in what position?
I'm in net, goalkeeper.
Oh, a goalkeeper?
Yes.
Right, and how long have you played for Moran? That's what division's that?
Division 1 Combi team.
How's the season going?
I played a friendly against Peel, but I haven't played too many games yet because it clashes with my first team rugby for college.
Okay.
Because we go away most Saturdays, and that's when the combi games are held. But after Christmas, I'll be back in goal.
Okay. And tell us about the away games for college. Where do you go to?
So we go around the island, mostly around the Liverpool area. We've got Liverpool College this Saturday, which is our longest rivals. It's a traditional game, so that should be good. But yeah, we just go around and we have some home fixtures.
Is it rough when you play Liverpool?
No, it's not too bad actually. It's it's quite tame. We played St Mary's last week, and that was good. But yeah.
And you went on tour with college. Whereabouts did you go last year?
We did. So we went to Australia. We flew into Hong Kong and then down to Melbourne. We were there for a few days. We watched an AFL game and then flew up to Brisbane. And then from Brisbane, we were taking coaches down towards Sydney.
What's Aussie rules like? Does it make sense?
Aussie rules, it's very slow. It's a lot of stop-start.
Yeah.
I was trying to, for the first half an hour, trying to grasp the rules, understand
They
what's
love
going
it
on.
there, though, don't they?
They do, yeah. I was hoping for some more big collisions, but some big...
Who's going to win the Rugby World Cup?
Rugby World Cup, well... I'm with bias. I'm going to say Ireland. My mum's Irish, and they've got South Africa this weekend, and I think that'll be a great game. But
who surprised you in the World Cup? Fiji were good, weren't they?
Fiji, yeah, they had a great game against Australia. Unfortunate against Wales in the last minutes, but yeah, Fiji. It's going to be close with them qualifying, with Wales and Australia going head-to-head on the weekend.
And Theo, you're a Premier League fan, aren't you? Who do you support?
Yes, I support Spurs, which I know is in the news a lot recently because of our new manager.
Yeah, so, I mean, what do you think their season's going to be like this year?
I'm hoping it'll be really positive, like a whole just rerun of the team.
Has VAR calmed down, do you think? Is VAR here to stay now?
I think overall it's not going to get put out. I think it makes the game fairer per se, but at the same time, if it had consistency, then it would make sense completely. But it's just the inconsistencies with the referees that.
Do you play football yourself?
I do play football, yes.
For who for?
I play for Colby.
Okay, and how's the season going for Colby?
Colby first team is currently top of Division 2, which is amazing, and combination side isn't doing as well at the moment. But
what position do you play?
I play right wing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are your academic plans? You're in your final year now. What's on the horizon for you?
During the summer, I did an internship at KPMG, and I really enjoyed that, but I think I'm still going to go to uni as opposed to taking that apprenticeship route through them. And then after uni, I'm kind of looking at places like Bath. Then I might be able to go into the apprenticeship at somewhere like KPMG.
Would you look forward to getting off the island to go to university?
Yeah, I think, well, because of how the island is, it's calmer, it's not as many people, it's going to be a massive difference, but I've lived in other places before, so it's not going to be...
Where did you live?
To me. Well, I grew up in Italy and near London, so I've had a little bit of lots of different cultures, and I think it'll be good to move away from the island.
Isabel, what are you planning for university?
For university, I'm planning to do history. I'm not quite sure exactly where, but maybe somewhere in the north, maybe something like Durham, York, that kind of place.
And why history?
I think I've always had a fascination with history. It's always been one of the subjects where I really enjoy, I look forward to it if I've got it in the day.
Yeah.
So I think going to uni and doing something that you enjoy, I think that's the best route, because then you'll love whatever line of work you go into. So I'm excited to do that.
Do you watch historical documentaries on television?
Yes, there are quite a few on Netflix at the minute. Like World War II in colour is one of my favourite so far.
World War II?
Yeah.
Why particularly?
I think because it's so close in terms of where we are now, because it's less than 100 years ago. I think it's still very relevant to a lot of people. For example, my grandparents were close to when World War II happened. Great-grandparents lived through it, so I think I find that element quite fascinating with it.
Okay, so Jess, tell us about this career of yours. Jess, you were on, was it BBC the other day?
No, it's actually next week on the 27th.
The 27th, and give it a plug. When's it on?
I think it's at 3 p.m. On the 27th on BBC Radio 3.
On Radio 3, okay, and you sing, don't you?
Yes, I do. I also play the cello, the piano and the organ.
Okay. And how long have you been musical? What age did you start?
Probably officially when I was about 4 or 5, but I did have an interest before that.
So pre the age of 4, what were you doing? Were you playing or were you singing?
Kind of trying to sing. Obviously when you're young, you've not got the vocal control, but as I kind of grew up, I started joining little groups for, toddlers and primary school age.
So do you have an ambition in that area? What do you want to do?
I'm looking at music therapy and music psychology at uni. And because I was a chorister in Durham and Truro as well. So that's kind of the route that I would want to follow, having that alongside whatever job I would go down career-wise.
Okay. Is that level of singing competitive at all?
Definitely. I did a week away over summer on a course to improve, and it was really intense, but it opened my eyes to the competitiveness of the industry. It was really good. So
it's the 27th, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is that right?
Yes.
What's the programme called? Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
What are you singing?
So it's just an evensong service in St John's College, Cambridge. It's a group of about 80 of us, all under the age of 21.
Arthur's with us as well. And Arthur, you were involved in the Scout thing. Whereabouts was it?
Yeah, it was in South Korea. And it was an international event with scouts from all around the world, with multiple different countries. I think one of the most surprising things about it was the campsite had a bigger population than the Isle of Man. So there were 90,000 people at the campsite, and then obviously here's 80,000.
So which scouts were you there with?
So because the Isle of Man is small, we were part of the UK contingent. And there are only 9 of us from the Isle of Man, so we were mixed with a group of Northwest Guides and Cumbrian Scouts. So we made up a unit of 40 scouts that were kind of throughout the UK, which was quite different to most other units from the UK.
How long did it last, the whole get-together there?
So the whole time we were in Korea was roughly 3 weeks.
What did you do for 3 weeks?
So we did quite a wide variety of things, mainly because of that was the aim of it, but also because of all the additional difficulties that occurred during the trip as well. So when we first arrived, we were in Seoul and we did a lot of sightseeing, but there were also some minor activities that were held by the UK to be doing in Seoul. Then we went over to the campsite, and generally there were supposed to be activities to be done there, but due to the heat wave and a couple of other issues.
What temperature was it there?
So it was 35 degrees, but because of the humidity, it made it up to 40. But one of the issues was there wasn't really much shade in the area we were in, and there wasn't much of a breeze or anything.
Did you get to the border at all? Did you see anything in North Korea?
So there was one of the days where the UK had organised for us to go to the demilitarised zone with a guide. So everybody in the UK contingent at some point would have gone there. And it was really, really interesting to see. So there was some aspects where you were taught about the history of and why Korea split. And they were talking about how they want to put effort towards reunification. And that was what they were trying to say that demilitarized zone represented. There was also a tiny bit where we got to go to a viewing outpost where we actually got to look into North Korea. Obviously, because of the large distance between the demilitarized zone and any real locations, it was hard to make things out. But if you had there were binoculars and stuff to look out of, and it allowed you to see some things, and it was quite interesting. It wasn't as different as you'd expect. I mean, it's a border between two countries, so one side looked very similar to the other side because there weren't any real cities or anything close by.
We're live at King William's College with the students of college. Ishana's with us as well. Do you drive, Ishana?
Yes, I do.
When did you pass your test?
About 4 months ago.
How many? You can tell us now. How many lessons did you have?
I'd say around 50.
50. And was it the first time? Did you pass first time?
I passed first time,
Oh, that's fantastic as well. Now, do you drive an electric car or a petrol car or a diesel car?
I drive a petrol car, but my family do own an electric car.
Okay. Have you heard this discussion about wind farms coming to the Isle of Man, putting up big wind turbines on the Isle of Man?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like it would be a great option to help our energy to be more renewable, and also it would be great for my dad owns an energy company in the UK, so I think it's a great way to create energy, and it's also better for our environmental future.
So what does he do, sell electricity or gas or what have you?
So he sells electricity and gas B2B for small businesses across the UK.
Okay, is that something you're interested in? Are you going into the family business? Or?
I think he would really like me to, but I'm personally more interested in economics and finance and going down a banking route.
Which university are you looking at?
Well, ideally, I would love to go to Imperial, but I'm also looking at universities such as LSE, UCL, Manchester, York.
Okay. And what would you like to do? What's your ambition?
Well, I'd like to do economics and finance at uni, and then ideally go into investment banking and eventually make enough of a reputation of myself to open my own private equity firm.
And who do you support in the Premier League, Ishana?
I'm more of a cricket fan than football, but I'd have to say Liverpool.
Anna, you're obviously a big Premier League fan, is that right?
Not really.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less.
My brothers love football, but I guess it just didn't pass to me.
So when they're watching it on TV, what do you do?
Avoid it.
Did you watch the women's football? Did you watch the Women's World Cup at all?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of your academic aspirations, what are you hoping to do?
I'm hoping to go to university to study art history, and then career-wise, I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Rory, are you a Premier League fan?
I can't say I am, no, but I am a Formula One fan. That's probably.
How do you think the championship's going this time?
The Formula One. I think Red Bull's dominance needs to be stopped somehow. But the last race, Carlos Sainz with Ferrari won, and they've been pretty unlucky recently. So it's good to see someone else on the podium.
What is it that you like about Formula One?
Well, obviously the fast cars is good, and also the aerodynamic aspect of it, the way they can go around corners, the downforce they can generate.
And who do you think is the most magnetic personality in Formula One?
That's a good question. That is a good question. It might be someone like Christian Horner or Toto Wolff, the team principals. They get in the spotlight quite a lot. But obviously Max Verstappen at the moment is quite.
So who's your call then for this year? Who's going to be champion?
It has to be Max Verstappen, unfortunately. But
unfortunately,
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Max Verstappen because he's won. I don't know how many, but he's won 10 races in a row. Yeah. So.
Okay. And Lloyd, are you a Premier League fan or a Formula One fan?
I'm more of a Formula One fan myself as well.
And who you think Verstappen's going to win the championship?
Yes, unfortunately. I think that Red Bull have a very dominant car, so they end up winning most races.
What do you think about the future? They're talking about electric cars in Formula One.
Well, they already have Formula E, which is fully electric, basically Formula One, but with electric cars. And I don't really watch it much, and I'm not sure about the idea of it, but I think that in Formula One, I'd like to see V10s back, but obviously that's not good for the climate. So they recently, well, not that recently, but they're on, is it 1.6 litre V6s? Yeah, V6s. So they're trying to bring a hybrid aspect into the sport, which I think could be good, but they're already trying to cut back. And I think that where Formula One can really save is with the travelling, making the races more. So they have one race in Australia, and then the next week they'll have it in Saudi Arabia, and then they'll go obviously all around the world. But if they make that path more where they don't have to travel as much, obviously, then I think that that's where they can save a lot of CO2 emissions.
You talked about making things sustainable, and what do you think Formula One? I mean, do you think it's sport's job to be sustainable, to head towards net zero? Is that something that sport can handle?
I think that it's a global responsibility, but I think that F1's kind of built on, motorsport and the thrill of it, and the noise of the cars and everything, and just big combustion engines going fast.
Well, and obviously we got the TT and GP over here as well, and TT0 came and went. Electric bikes came and went, and they just didn't seem to take off.
Yeah, I know. I think that with the fans, I don't think they're that interested in seeing electric cars. So I think the main way that we can save on in motorsport is with the travelling, and I think that's where most of the CO2 comes.
And how do you think about the Isle of Man with the potential wind farms and what have you? Do you think it's the Isle of Man's job to make itself self-sustainable where that's concerned?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a global responsibility, obviously, and I think that the Isle of Man is a very windy place. I think we're all aware of that. So I think that I know that in Wales, because I'm from Wales, so I go over to Wales quite a lot. I look out and see all the wind farms. So they're
offshore ones.
Yeah, offshore ones. Yeah.
But are there any onshore? Are there any in Snowdonia or anywhere like that?
Not really in Snowdonia. I don't see that many, but they have solar farms in some places, but you don't really see many onshore ones.
Okay, Ishana?
Well, in regard to TT, last year and this year it was actually a carbon zero TT. Yeah. It was sponsored by my dad's company, and they actually bought all of the carbon emissions.
Oh, they bought the carbon credits?
Yes.
Because this is the big currency, isn't it? Yeah. Carbon credits are the currency. So, and how does that, I mean, for people who don't understand that, how does it work?
So, basically, companies have carbon emissions that they can buy. So, for example, in the regard to the TT, all the carbon emissions, my dad's company, which is obviously an oil and gas company, bought it over. So, therefore, technically, the TT was carbon zero, as the emissions were already
So they work out the carbon footprint for anything. So they worked out the carbon footprint for the TT, and somebody then purchases carbon credits to offset that, and thus it becomes carbon zero. Is that right? Okay, thanks for that. And Isabel, sorry.
Going back to the wind farms, I've actually seen a lot of it on the news recently, and I would say, I think it's a very good idea for the island because it's
onshore or offshore.
Well, I think offshore, because at the minute I know the onshore wind farms they're trying to do. I think there's one up in Eristane that they're trying to do at the minute, and I know they're trying to tear down a plantation in order to do it and build it on heathland, which I think going at it like that actually negates what you're trying to do. So I think whilst it's a brilliant idea, and as an island, because we're such a small community, trying to lead the way in terms of the environment I think is a brilliant thing to do. But I think there's also the point where we need to consider the environment that we do have now as well.
So, yeah, I understand that. So, aesthetically, it's not going to look very nice, and as you say, it may disrupt the ecology of what's around there. The proponents of it say, well, it's for the greater good. You know, it's producing green electricity, and that's the way it's going to be for the future.
Well, I think that is very true. But the site they're deciding on now, one of the options is actually on heathland, so you couldn't physically build it. However, there is another site further up in the north where it would be more open space, it would be a lot easier. Yeah. So I think making the right decisions in terms of where you put them is very important.
Jess?
I understand the science side behind it, but I think the island has that natural beauty that you wouldn't find in the UK. And I think if you were to go and put some wind farms in the middle of Arch Alligan Plantation, I think it would ruin what the island has to offer.
Some people say we're not an enormously polluting country. The Isle of Man doesn't have massive industry. We have cars, certainly, but we don't pollute where that's concerned. So, some people say we wouldn't make that much difference no matter what we did.
I think I agree, but it's also like setting the precedent for other countries.
It's a commitment.
So that you're committing, so that other places will.
Okay, Theo?
In regards to the wind farm, I know it talks about offsetting carbon pollutions, but wind turbines don't last forever, and eventually the lifespan runs out, and there's just massive metallic structures that need to be disposed of. And I know that that's not free, that's not super easy, and that itself will give carbon emissions.
Well, this happily is a problem that your generation is going to have to handle. You'll be paying for it in taxes for 30, 40, 50 years to come. And nobody quite knows where the chips are going to fall at the moment, whether it's going to be solar or wind power, offshore, onshore, whether it's going to be nuclear. Certainly fossil fuel seems to be on the way out. But we have a gas field off the north of the Isle of Man, off Mackle, a possibility of drilling for our own gas. Do you think we should?
I think that, well, in regards to the wind farms, that kind of goes against it again, so it's all that contradicting. And with the waste from the wind farms, obviously the offshore wind farms are going to have the same amount of waste disposal that's going to have to go on. And, with the mining for gas and all that kind of things, it's just, it doesn't, you're kind of going against what you're trying to fix.
Arthur?
One thing you mentioned was the different forms of renewable energy generation, and you kind of implied that we have to pick one and stick with it, and I think it would be the wisest way to go about it would be to try mix them and make a combination which you pick depending on the location you're in. So for example, some locations where you may not have much sunlight or wind or water which you could use to generate energy, nuclear might be the best way to go, especially if there's a large population. But the Isle of Man, for example, wind is definitely viable. Potentially using the water from the sea or rivers could also be a way of generating energy, but something such as solar may not be the best way because we're often quite cloudy here.
Yeah, well, I mean, not that far away from here, but there's a man who's got a planning application in for 92,000 solar panels around Billown Mansion, hoping to start a solar farm there. So, and that's the point. Sometimes the wind doesn't blow, and sometimes it's not very sunny.
Which is why I think there's the importance on having a mix, so that when, for example, on a day it's not sunny, you might still have the wind. Yeah. Having a combination, I think, would be the best way. With regards to somebody having a lot, I think, if I understand correctly, solar panels do still work on the Isle of Man. It just may not work as well as they would in the middle of a desert, for example.
Okay. Lloyd?
Yes, well, I know that you just spoke about the Isle of Man drilling for their own gas, and I've also heard about that. And
what do you think of that?
I think that it would obviously take a lot of money to set up a lot of renewable farms, wind turbines, and big sustainable projects like that will obviously cost a lot of money, and it'll cost the taxpayer a lot of money. So I think that if we actually get our own gas, then we won't be relying on the UK for electricity or as much. and then we'll actually be able to sell the electricity and make a profit, and then be able to pay for...
Well, the people behind the gas say it will earn the Isle of Man billions.
Yeah, well, I think they would greatly benefit the Isle of Man. You know, they could invest in infrastructure, obviously invest in green energy, so that by maybe 2030, 40, looking into the future, we will be all renewable energy, because I think there has to be some kind of shift.
Okay, 12:30, we're live from King William's College with the students talking about, well, really whatever they want to talk about. We're back in just a moment.
When you save a little money, it means a lot these days.
If you're looking for bathrooms and tiles, you'll always find something new in store at Pacesetter. For surprisingly affordable prices and excellent choice, search online for Pacesetter Douglas. Or better still, visit the Pacesetter Bathroom and Tile Showroom on Harris Terrace and see the new styles in store.
You can get the best of everything, where the price is twice as nice.
They got your whole house in their hands.
When you need scaffolding,
DPM.
on time and on budget,
DPM.
we'll beat any quote.
DPM. We do it all at DPM.
DPM promise to beat any like-for-like scaffolding quote by 10%. So when you need scaffolding, call the friendly, experienced DPM scaffolding team on 612000. T's and C's apply.
We do it all at DPM. Do you know a scrap man? 'Cause I've got scrap to clear. Causing copper, brass and lead, and I need cash for beer.
What? You don't know a scrap man? Gastains of Vauxhall is the one for you. Gastains will take all scrap metal and is also licensed for dry cell and lead acid batteries. So don't delay. Ring 801 337 now.
So now we know a scrap man and all our scrap's been cleared. Ring 801 337, then have cash for beer. Call Costains today and get yourself a beer.
Get ready for another winning weekend on Manx Radio.
And this weekend, you could win a one-night stay for two plus breakfast at the luxurious Mannin Hotel.
Visit manxradio.com and answer the competition question for your chance to win. You can enter as many times as you like.
Then make sure you're listening to Manx Radio Breakfast on Monday morning when we'll announce the winner.
Make this your winning weekend with your nation station, Manx Radio.
This is the Mannin Line on location.
With the students of King William's College. So who's on social media here? Just about everybody. What are you on, Jess?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat and Twitter, but some of them are music accounts as well.
Okay, and how much time do you spend per week? What does it say on your screen time analysis?
My screen time is usually about an hour a day. So
that's nothing.
Yeah, I don't really have very much
time. Do you
time.
post on Instagram or just look?
I post on my music account, but not really on my own account.
Okay. Do you follow anybody? Are you on Twitter or X?
I am, but I'm more of an observer.
Who's the most famous person that you follow on X?
Probably sounds really bad, but John Rutter.
Right. Isabel, are you on social media?
Yes, I'm similar to Jess on Instagram, Snapchat, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and do you post?
Not very regularly. Maybe after the Australia tour, photos from there, but nothing much.
And TikTok, do you watch TikTok at all?
No.
Okay. Theo, are you on social media?
Yes, I am.
And what do you do?
I've got Snapchat and Instagram, and a bit of X. I'm not on it often, but.
And how much time a day do you think you spend?
Probably a bit more than Jess. It's not my proudest achievement, but I'm not excessive use. Yeah.
Oh, you've got a long way to beat some of the contributors we've had
yeah,
on here.
I can imagine.
Do you follow people on X or do you post?
Well, I'm mostly just read about Spurs on X. That's the reason why I got it in the first place.
Are you a gamer at all?
Yeah, in my spare time sometimes.
What is it, Fortnite or COD?
I like a bit of Rocket League and try to think of some other games. Yeah, Overwatch maybe.
Okay. Lloyd, are you on social media?
Yes, I am. I'm on Instagram and Snapchat maybe.
And how much time do you spend?
Probably 2 hours a day, if I was to average it.
Do you read a newspaper?
Well, I did for my EE recently, but...
EE is?
Extended essay.
Right.
But not normally, no.
What newspaper did you read?
Well, local Manx newspapers, because...
Was it a physical newspaper or online?
Physical. I actually went down to the shop and
paid £1.20.
Yeah, exactly. But normally I get my news online.
And Rory, which social media do you use?
I'm on Instagram and Snapchat.
And you post, or do you?
No,
you just look. And are you a gamer at all?
Yeah, like Theo. I like a bit of Rocket League, Overwatch. Yeah.
And what's the longest session you've ever had?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe like 4 hours.
That's nothing compared to...
That's not bad, though.
No, some of the people... We've had 18 hours.
18 hours?
18 hours, and playing right across a weekend as well.
Yeah, that's
Do you play competitively?
I try to, yeah.
Are you any good?
No, not really. No.
So, in terms of social media, do you think social media on the whole is a force for good or ill?
It depends how you use it, but I think overall it is a good thing. Connects the world together and lets you communicate easily with people.
Okay. So. Henry, who do you follow on X?
Oh, I don't have X. I'm Instagram.
You're Instagram.
Snapchat,
and
yes.
who do you follow on Instagram? Who do you look at?
My friends, athletes, football clubs,
Have
Liverpool.
Moran got an Instagram?
Moran, they do, yes.
Yeah?
Moran FC.
They post the photos and what
Yeah,
they do?
the results, fixtures, different, just letting people know when the games are, where they are. So,
and how long do you spend on social media?
Oh, well,
you're amongst friends, you can tell us.
Yeah, I'd say my screen time daily would be about 3 hours.
Right. Do you actually watch real television, ordinary television at all?
I'd watch football. I'll watch sports. So
did you watch the Man United game last night?
I did, against Bayern Munich. Great game. Controversial handball, but I won't go into that. Yeah, so...
Okay. And Anna, are you on social media?
I've got Snapchat. That's about it.
Okay. And do you spend a long time?
It's mainly just to talk to my friends, so maybe like an hour, 2 hours a day.
Right. And do you watch television at all?
Yes. Particularly Netflix. I love Netflix.
But ordinary television.
No.
Do you watch ITV or BBC at all?
Not really.
Would you tune in for the news at all? Would you watch news at 10 or anything like that?
No, I prefer to online do you
go to? Which sites do you go to for your news?
Telegraph, BBC, that kind of thing.
Ishana, you're on social media, I take it?
Yes.
How much social media are you on?
Everything I can be on. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, everything really.
And do you post?
Yes.
What sort of things do you post?
Mostly I post TikToks with my friends and forcing my parents to make embarrassing TikToks and post of them.
My word. How many followers have you got?
On Instagram I have just over 1,000, I think, and on TikTok I have like 200 something, I think, yeah.
What did you think of the in the Women's World Cup? What did you think of the Spanish FA official?
I think it's good that it's like he's now been forced to resign, but I feel like there shouldn't be an opportunity for an event like that to occur at all, especially when he's got a reputation. Loads of players have come out to say that this is not like a one-time thing. He's made inappropriate comments, inappropriate actions to so many players in the past, and this one it's become kind of a hot topic now simply because it was in a big league. And obviously it's come with repercussions, but surely it should have just been stopped on the first instance and it shouldn't have been let to be able to come to this point. I
mean, do you think it's good that it's been brought to the surface now? This Luis Rubiales has gone. He kissed Jennifer Hermoso on the lips to a worldwide audience. Clearly wasn't consensual. But football has almost brought this to a head and has dealt with it. Do you think that's a good? I mean, it did take ages to happen, though, didn't it?
I do think it's a good thing now that there's going to be a court case. He's been forced to resign. However, with a position with that much power, these sort of people should never be allowed. And the fact that this is overpowering a great a win for Spain, that's. That's
it. It almost overshadowed what was a terrific performance.
Yeah, like we talk about it in IB Spanish. We have to talk about Spanish current events. And like our teacher was saying, this is like the first win for the Spanish women's team in decades, and that's being overpowered by this very negative situation. Like, I'm happy it's obviously been dealt with now, but if this has happened in the past, why was he able to play at such a position?
And it took the team to boycott and to go on strike, basically, didn't it, before this happened?
Yeah, just because he's a man running a women's team doesn't give him the right to do anything like that.
And how much of a hot topic was it in the Spanish news?
In Spanish news, it was a lot. Like, I remember even the UK's news, all over the world, really. Like, we watch a lot of Indian news at home, and even there, like, it was a hot topic all over the world, I think, and I think that's a good thing that situations like this are being brought to attention, especially with Russell Brand now as well, and people are being called out for their actions now, and they're not being silenced. Like, victims aren't being silenced anymore. But
what's your opinion of the Russell Brand thing?
I think I'm happy that stuff like this has come out to the surface now, and we're not allowing a person like that to, some people could think of him like as a celebrity idol, but now people are seeing the real him, and I think that's really good. But again, like, if it's been happening for so long, why is it taking so long for such things to come out?
Jess, what's your opinion of this?
I think I agree with Ishana. It's really good that it's come out, but also the power of social media can sometimes take over, and he's very popular in the US with his kind of questionable views, and he's not. No one in the US, well, some do, but not many actually question his actions and what he's doing, and no one kind of gives him a counter argument, which I think it's good that it's all coming out, because that is going to happen.
But it's amazing, really, when you think how popular he was when he was on Big Brother for many years, absolutely all over, and yet there are allegations of some dreadful behaviour.
I think it's the behaviour that he did was outrageous, but the way that it's coming out and coming to a head, I think, is really good, and it's setting the precedent for other people that it's not going to be accepted, and it gives the victims that sense of justice.
Interesting. Here we are live. Oh, by the way, I have to go to Lloyd, who's here, because I've been teasing Lloyd for all the shows.
Yes.
Right? Lloyd is Lloyd Cheadle Higgins.
Yes.
And I told you that Higgins is a very impressive name at King William's College.
You did.
And you have no idea why.
And I have no idea why.
And the connection with the Beatles, it is that in the 1950s, there was an old Barovian now attended King William's College called Henry Higgins. Henry Higgins was an English matador in Spain. He was the first English matador in Spain.
Wow.
He attended King William's College. In fact, I think some old Barovians remember Higgins from the 1950s. He was called El Inglés, the Englishman, became a fully fledged matador in 1970. The Beatles connection is he was managed by Brian Epstein.
Wow.
The Beatles manager managed Henry Higgins,
wow.
Old Barovian of Higgins, Henry Higgins. You have any ambition to be a matador?
Well, it wasn't in
They make a fortune, by the way.
Maybe it can be in my life plan then. But I wasn't considering it.
Well, there we are.
Until now.
There he is. The most famous Higgins before you was Henry Higgins, the matador.
Wow.
How about that? Live, back at Castletown with King William's College students in just a moment.
At ShopRite, a big slice of our range is continually priced to match or better other supermarkets. We call it Price Match Plus, the plus being what others simply don't match. Like ShopRite Savers, low prices, choice and value you won't get elsewhere, with brands like Sainsbury's and no need to travel miles. Plus, the difference being locally owned makes. We're loyal supporters of local food producers and businesses and benefit the Manx economy directly. ShopRite, proudly locally owned.
Choose Manx Glass and Glazing for supply only or supply and installation of a wide range of quality products. All types of glazing work undertaken, plus fabulous doors and conservatories in both traditional and contemporary styles. And whether UPVC or aluminium, you can be sure of excellent workmanship and guarantees at Manx Glass and Glazing. See for yourself when you visit the showroom on Snugborough Trading Estate. Manx Glass and Glazing. Quality quality and style since 1986.
The Ramsey Garden Centre sale is now on, featuring a huge range of garden items at vastly reduced prices. Don't delay. Grab a garden bargain now. There has never been a better time to visit Ramsey Garden Centre. Open 7 days a week on Albert Road, Ramsey.
The government has set clear targets to decarbonise the Manx economy over the coming decades. Solar power and onshore and offshore wind look like the best available renewable energy generation prospects, but are there alternatives? The Chief Minister doesn't seem convinced, but Graham Fox-Hume tells us that the answer lies beneath our feet, and John Shepherd wants draconian measures introduced to help us lead better lives. Are they right? Find out on Perspective this Sunday at 12 noon on Manx Radio with me, Phil Gorn. Is geothermal energy really readily available, and if so, why is it not being explored? Why aren't we building houses that use a tiny fraction of the energy to heat?
This is the Mannin Line on location.
How about that? We're live at King William's College. Theo, by the way, how do you feel about watching Harry Kane play for Bayern Munich?
It's quite saddening, but I think he's doing a good job over there, and hopefully he has success.
Do you prefer the fact he went to Munich rather than Manchester United?
Yeah, I think the fact that he's gone to a different league and a different country, it allows him to have play a different type of football, because Premier League football and Bundesliga football is not the same, and I think it'll benefit him as a player.
On the spot, what position will Spurs finish in at the end of the season?
Well, obviously I'd like a top 4 or 5 finish for Champions League football. I know there's a debate about a 5th position for England, but I think if we got European football at all, I'd be very happy. But we're doing really well under Ange, and 4th or 5th place is where I'd put us.
Who wants to talk about the golf simulator? Lloyd.
Yeah, I'll talk about the golf.
So what is the golf simulator here?
So at school, we've just recently had the old pavilion done up, and now it's a golf simulator, so an indoor simulator. So you've got a sensor which obviously tracks the ball, and it can tell you where it goes, and you can play with the software. You can play on different courses around the world. Where have you played so far?
I
only had a chance to try it out yesterday, and they're still getting the projector up, so I was just having a play around, seeing what statistics you can get from it.
How long have you been playing golf?
About a year and a half. I kind of started when I came onto the island. And golf on the island's actually really good. There's a lot of places to play, and it's a lot cheaper than the UK to play in a lot of the courses. I'm a member at Mount Murray, same as Rory.
Okay. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing around the same time as Lloyd. And
handicap yet?
Got 7 handicap. No, not really, but no, I don't have a handicap. I want to get one so we can play in competitions, go away, and.
Any favourite golfer?
Favourite golfer? I do like Bryson DeChambeau, because his driver, very long drive, so that's what's cool.
Isabel, you play hockey, is that right?
Yeah, I play hockey for Valkyries.
Okay, and competitively, yeah?
Yes.
Are you in the team, is what I'm saying?
Yes,
You're
I'm
in the team. What position do you play?
I'm a goalie. I play goal.
Okay, so the enormous pads and what have you.
Yes, going through airports with that is a bit of a pain, but it's fun in goal.
Okay, and how do you see, sport's always been very big on the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
What's the scene like in hockey?
I think hockey's a very big thing on the island. At the minute, it's not only girls that are doing it, boys are also playing hockey as well. So, for example, there's a mixed league at the minute, so it's men and women. Everyone's playing it, everyone's getting involved, which I think is a really good thing.
And what do you play, Jess? Do you play sport?
I play netball.
What position?
Shooter.
Shooter. Is that the same as goal attack?
Basically, just you can't go as far.
Yeah. And how long have you been playing netball?
On and off since I was about 9, 10.
Okay, and competitively, do you play for a team at all, or? Yeah,
Izzy and I both play for Castletown.
Okay, what's the social life like?
Our team is a really good bunch of people. We had our first match on just on the past Sunday, where some of us hadn't actually met before. But no, our team's really good vibes, good. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of, and obviously, what's your favourite type of music? Is it classical?
I'm kind of torn by country music as well, like folk country music.
Right.
But yeah, classical.
Are you in any
folk.
country or folk bands at all?
No, I've done some stuff with Dave Kilgallen and Winterfest last year, which kind of opened my eyes a bit more to it. And then recently saw Nathan Carter when he came over.
Oh, at the Villa Marina?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
It was amazing.
It's funny how country music has completely burgeoned. Well, certainly in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
C2C in London and everything. It's really, really big. I'm just interested in your musical background as well. And how was it brought out of you? Did you show the musical talent and love of music, or was it brought out from people around you?
I would say it was kind of brought out. My gran used to go to church, and I used to go with her and sit in the aisle and like try and sing along. And then kind of through primary school, they were like, you could actually do this outside of school.
What's the curriculum like here at college?
The music IB is really good. I didn't do it at GCSE because I moved schools, but the IB is really good. You're experimenting, exploring and collaborating with other people.
Well, in the International Baccalaureate, just tell me, so how does it work to get your IB in music? What do you have to do?
So you've got 5 components, 4 if you do it at a lower level, and these all challenge you in different ways. So you compose, you perform, and then you collaborate with another art for your final element. And it's about a 15-minute presentation for one of them, where you'll do like a PowerPoint with a voiceover, and you're composing, and you're really pushing the boundaries of what you know.
And has the IB, has it challenged you? Does it stretch you? Does it frustrate you? How do you find it?
I really like the IB. I like the spread of subjects that I get. I like the intensity from my science and my other high-level subjects, but I like not the relaxed sense of music, but there's no exam, so it is more relaxed.
What's your favourite instrument to play?
If it's not singing, probably the cello.
And for anybody starting listening and saying, I've got a child, son or daughter, what would you suggest to them? Do people need to get into music and tuition and practice as soon as possible, or does it just have to come naturally?
I think there's an element of both. I think music has such big benefits for everybody, academically, but also, with your mental health, your physical health. You go on a run and you stick some music on, and I don't think people realise how key music actually is in your daily life.
The Isle of Man's a musical place, though, isn't it?
It is, and through all ages as well. You've got like the younger musical schools, and then you've got like the Isle of Man Choral Society, the Festival Chorus, and you've got like a massive spread. You're lucky at King William's College because there's a big music department. There's some schools on the Isle of Man where there isn't, and people can get frustrated by that. Indeed, and I think people forget how lucky we are here to have the facilities that we take advantage of. Yeah, interesting. Well, all the best. So it's the 27th again. Yes, it
27th,
is. Yes.
3 o'clock, BBC Radio 3. Henry, as well. We were talking about sport. You a golfer as well as football and rugby.
I've played a few rounds of golf, but nothing special.
So who did Moran play this week?
Moran? Good question. They played St George's last week, but I'm not sure.
Where do you live on the island?
I'm Douglas.
All right. So how much training do you have to do to play for Moran?
I'm quite guilty of not going down to many training sessions, but there's usually 1 or 2 a week.
What's your opinion of FC Isle of Man?
FC Isle of Man, I went down to a few of their games when they had started up. I know they're travelling a lot and they're doing well.
Do you think it's a good idea for the Isle of Man?
Yeah, I think so. It brings people together.
But some people are saying, obviously a lot of the players play for other clubs as well.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, get into the FC Isle of Man team. Does it take players away from the other clubs at all?
Yeah, I had a good friend called Tom Shimon who I went to primary school with, who's now playing for FC Isle of Man, and he used to be a player at Moran, but he's no longer playing with us because of FC Isle of Man. So.
Would you like to see FC Isle of Man prosper and move up the leagues? Because they've had a promotion already.
Yeah, definitely. They're doing very well, and I'd like to see them keep going, keep doing what they're doing. Okay. Sorry, Theo.
I know you said about the FC Isle of Man players drawing away from the other clubs on the island, but I've had experiences where with FC Isle of Man players, if they've been returning from an injury or something like that, then they can play for their original club, and they just come on and they dominate the games. And it kind of, if it was a competitive game, they can just come on and completely dominate and change the way of the game. And I think for that reason, it's a good thing to have FC Isle of Man, so that it can take the players that will just dominate the rest of the league.
How far do you think FC Isle of Man can go?
I know currently they got promoted last year, but now they're struggling in the new league. So I think.
Well, they're mid-table. They've lost. I think they lost the last 4 games.
I think if they could stay in the current league that they're in for a few years, that would be good for them. And then even working up higher, that will also be really good for them.
It's interesting. I mean, at the moment, it's a financial. Lots of people are putting money into it. The thing is losing money. Would you hope to see them do better and move up?
Yeah, I mean, I know that obviously they can't just get every team to come over to the island because they're expensive. So instead, we have to go out to the other teams, and that costs money every week to go and go on the boat over. So I think if they got promoted and were able to bring more money in, then it justifies being able to go out every week.
Okay. We've got about 30 seconds, Arthur. I just want you to tell me about how people can get into scouting on the Isle of Man.
There are a variety of different scout groups throughout the Isle of Man. Generally, there'll be one within 5 minutes of your local area in terms of walking. So
where would you find out? On Facebook or online?
There's plenty of stuff on Facebook. If you search Isle of Man Scouts, you'll likely be able to find people. And if you try to get into contact with anybody, I'm sure they'd be happy to guide you to a group.
How much fun is scouting?
Absolutely amazing. What you do depends on the group, but generally what you do is decided by the people in the group, and as you get older you get to do more adventurous things, and it's really enjoyable.
Okay, thanks for being with us today. We've been live in Castletown with the students of King William's College. The most famous Higgins has been with us. That's Lloyd has been with us, and Rory and Henry and Anna and Ishana and Arthur and Theo and Isabel and Jess. And it's 27th, is it? 27th again. 27th, Radio 3. You can hear Jess Quigley singing. That's it. We've been live at King William's College with the students. Thank you.
WINT